Manchester City put a stop to Manchester United's run of 3 consecutive wins with a convincing 3-0 victory over their arch-rivals at Old Trafford. Boos rang around Old Trafford at the final whistle as Manchester United suffered a disappointing 3-0 defeat to rivals Manchester City. Express Sport picks out 5 things learned from United's 5th Premier League loss in 10 games. Woodward's biggest mistake. Manchester United's reluctance to pay the necessary money to sign Erling Haaland back in January 2020 is looking more and more foolish every week. Ed Woodward ultimately felt it was too much money for a player unproven on the world stage, but that fee Dortmund paid for Haaland then represents a bargain on today's world. Manchester City have since capitalized on United's hesitancy, and Haaland has now twice single-handedly led Pep Guardiola's side to victories over the Red Devils, with 5 goals now in the derby. Considering how much United have struggled for goals over the past few years, it must hurt seeing Haaland rip it up on the other side of Manchester. Injuries costing United defensively. Losing Lisandro Martinez until the new year has certainly been a blow to Ten Hag, but not having Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia or Aaron Wan-Bissaka has ultimately forced the United boss to play a makeshift backline. Johnny Evans wouldn't have been expected to be starting a Manchester derby at the age of 35 and having left relegated Leicester City in the summer. He was guilty of leaving Haaland unmarked at the back post for City's second of the match. United will be a better unit when everyone is back fit. But Ten Hag has to figure out a way to ride out the wave of injuries that have cost them dearly at the back to start the campaign. Midfield all at sea. It might be Erik Ten Hag's biggest problem to fix at the moment, and trying to get his midfield clicking. Another game where United have lacked any structure in midfield, with their opponents able to pick their way through the middle of the pitch. Bruno Fernandes doesn't suit playing out wide, while Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount, Sofyan Amrabat and Scott McTominay look like strangers to one another. United look like a team of individuals too often, and City are too good of a team to not take full advantage of that. One-sided derby. It's now 6 derby wins for Manchester City out of the last 7 matches against their arch-rivals. Pep Guardiola appears to have figured out a way to get the better of United on a regular basis, and doing so at Old Trafford is even more devastating. This game was seen as a chance for United to reassure CT their season, but they needed to perform in order to do so. That hasn't happened in most of the recent derbies now, and they won't fancy their chances at the Etihad later in the season either. Boos for Ten Hag. It's always an ominous sign when the United faithful begin booing their manager, but Ten Hag is at risk of losing the home crowd very soon, with United in desperate need of a goal. Ten Hag took Rasmus Højlund off for Alejandro Garnacho, to the disapproval of most of the home supporters. Antony was seen shaking his head on the bench, while Højlund himself didn't look too pleased either. But Ten Hag will be more concerned about the toxic atmosphere building at Old Trafford now, with past managers well aware what that means in the long run.